something that
Madness.
something that gets to me is the way the papers portray national teams when they lose.
Yeah.
I'm not sure if you all notice it,
Oh
but the
yeah.
way they write those
They're
stories,
awful.
I don't know who. I feel like the person who's writing these stories is somebody who like never played
I
sports,
was about to say someone who
and
never plays
they
sports in
never play
life.
sports and they don't like athletes, and it's like, or they're like, well, they feel like they get tired playing football. It's be like, this is not what the headline said, but I remember like after the Canada Trinidad match, it said something like Trinidad annihilated by Canada, unprepared athletes
Yeah.
couldn't withstand the force or something like that. I'm
Yes.
like, why say that? Because like I mean, it'd be in other countries and the national team would lose and then be like, our national heroes weren't able to secure the win against foreign blah blah blah, and I'll be like, it's still because I mean like the way you talk about your national team is like have a greater effect than just sport and talking about a football team is have an effect on how people see the country and
As a
how they see
whole.
themselves.
I agree.
It's just be like, oh, when people keep reading that over and over, they kind of like assimilate this feeling that we aren't good at this, we are doing bad or whatever.
If the team
Right.
reads it.
When the
If the
team reads it.
Yeah.
you
And
know,
and these
how
are
you gonna-
people who are
Yeah.
like training for months,
Training hard.
injuries, you don't know who
played
to
well.
break, you don't know what going on, you
Right.
don't know what is
They
big.
played well after going out and those kids, they worked hard. They gave it their all. To now come back and read a headline like that, it's disheartening, and
Yeah.
people forget that athletes are human beings.
Yeah.
We are not robots, and they feel, yes, we're told to operate in this tough exterior, right? But they feel just like anyone does, so, and they have things affect them mentally like it would affect anyone else. So when they read things like that, I think a lot of times, just like you were saying, people who are writing these things, they forget how things like that will affect them, when they're in the throes of competition. And mind you, these are people who can't even make it through their warm-up, writing things like that.
Yeah. I just think they need to understand the impact. But I mean, the reality is, I mean, people who write in the papers, unfortunately, and it might be the people who write, it might be the editors, but I mean, I guess there's psychological fact that negative news gets shared a lot more than positive news.
Oh yeah.
Like, so it's just like a fact, like a statistical fact. A bad headline will get shared more, and I feel like things do get twisted. So I mean, you know what? It mightn't even be the writer. So here's a real good example. So I had done I got asked to do like some writing about like stuff that happened in the hospital, like a situation that happened with a patient, just like the outcome, a little bit about psychiatry and stuff. And I spoke to the person who's writing the article. I was like, hey, you know what? I would love to do this. I'd like to give you the update. But what's really important to me is this is positive. I really don't like the amount of negative news that there is in the papers, and especially about negative like press that the hospital gets. I really want to just like help people just feel better about what's going on in Trinidad and how people feel about the hospital system. And it was like, yeah, sure, let's do it. And so I did the article, sent it to them, they sent it back, they approved it, and then the article comes out a few days later, and the headline was Edson Breedy, the downward spiral. That was like the big. That was what
I
they
saw it.
titled it.
Yeah.
And I was
I
just
saw
like,
it.
what? How did
Like
they do this?
they need
How did
this,
they do this?
salacious spin on everything.
It's not just that. The editor has the final say.
The edit. So that's what
So
it
the
told me.
editor comes in and says, "This is not going to sell papers. I need
Yeah.
you to change it in this way so that it sells."
So it changed my perspective on it because I was like, okay, so I used to be going through the papers and thinking, why are these writers writing all these negative things? Everything seems to be so negative in here. But no, what the writer explained is that the editor of the paper does come and just change it randomly, and the writer have no control. So you might write this real nice article and it'll be like, puppy's death, whatever. But then, right? Put some kind
Very
of
morbid.
thing. And then so then after I became like really like hesitant. I'm like, when you read things in the papers, you really don't know what it is the person said and how it got like chopped up into and changed
Yeah,
into.
yeah.
And remember, the
whatever.
editor was not the interviewer.
Mhm.
The editor is not the reporter. So the editor wasn't even present
Right.
to hear what was actually said.
Mhm.
They just know what sells. And they're constantly doing research on the statistics of what people are attracted to. The same thing with social media influencers. They're trying to figure out what is going to get the click, what is going to get the like, what is going to get this paper sold. So that's what they're banking on. They don't really want the truth.
You're going in deep there, come on.
This is where we are, guys. This is where we are. Jeez.
All right, okay. So some more salaciousness, right? What